Everyone. My name is Luis from Hired, and I'm very, very happy to welcome you to the webinar Acing the Interview Landing Your Dream Job, hosting by Ferring Pharmaceuticals. Today, we are very pleased to have Sam and Jason, talent acquisition specialists. And during this 45-minute session, you will gain strategic insights on practical tips and proven techniques about how to stand out, impress recruiters, and confidently land your dream job. Now I give the screen to Sam and Jason. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Weah from Ferring Pharmaceuticals. You will be speaking with myself and Jason today. Welcome to Acing the Interview and Landing Your Dream Job. Today, you'll be hearing from Jason and myself with a bit of mindfulness, practice, and consistency. You can ace any interview. I'm going to introduce myself, and I would also like Jason to introduce himself prior to us going to the next slide. So once more, my name is Weah. I've been with Ferring for about a year now. I've been working in the pharmaceutical industry or recruitment for close to 10 years now, and I'm really excited to get an opportunity to speak to you all and see what you have to, and hear any questions from you at the end as well. Jason?
Hello, everybody. Like my colleague mentioned, my name is Jason. I'm part of the talent acquisition team with Ferring Pharmaceuticals as well. Although Ferring is a global company, my colleague and I are based out of our US headquarters. So we sit in the United States and we support Ferring globally. And we're just excited to have the opportunity to speak with you all more. We'll walk you through the presentation here, and if there's any questions, we'll have a Q&A session at the end to address that.
Today, we're going to provide an overview of Ferring as an organization. We're also going to give you tips on how to prepare for your interview and bring your authentic self to your interview by really telling your story. You'll learn the difference between a biography and competency-based interview, how to master your behavioral interview, and last but not least, closing out the interview and confirming your interest. We have a lot to cover, so we ask that you hold your questions to the end during our Q&A. And before we get started, can we have you write in the chat where you're from? So represent your country, your city. I'm actually sitting out of Brooklyn, New York right now. So please throw in the chat where you're from so we can get some interaction, and we'll jump right in afterwards. I see the chat lighting up. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to jump in, but first, we're going to play our video quickly. Okay, so I see Paris, France. I see Oslo, Switzerland, Boston. Hello, hello, hello. Nice, okay. We can go ahead and play the video.
Ferring Pharmaceuticals is a biopharmaceutical company that pioneers and delivers life-changing therapies to help people build families and live better lives. For more than 70 years, we've been known for our commitment to science and our people-first culture. Every day in reproductive medicine, maternal health, uro-oncology, orthopedics, and gastroenterology, including microbiome therapeutics, we are relentless in our focus on people. We have decades of experience providing treatments that help people become parents and build families of every shape and size. We are pioneers, exploring the frontiers of science, including the breakthrough areas of microbiome and gene therapy. Today, we stand more than 6,000 strong across the globe, including more than 900 employees right here in the United States, extending our impact in more than 100 countries around the world. Because in our world, we know that people will always come first. From the millions of patients and families who benefit from our treatments, to the healthcare professionals who care for them, and the bold, curious, and determined colleagues we work beside every day. Each of us is empowered to advance new ideas that will make a positive and lasting impact for generations to come. Ferring Pharmaceuticals.
Awesome. So we're going to jump right in and talk through our company overview. We are a privately held, research-driven biopharmaceutical company. We're founded in Sweden in 1950, and our global headquarters are in Switzerland. We have over 7,000 employees globally, and our revenue last year was close to $22.2 billion. So, a part of who we are as an organization is our Ferring philosophy. So, the Ferring philosophy basically starts at people come first at Ferring. And we live that Ferring philosophy with everything we do, whether it's our patients, the doctors we work with, any vendors we're working with. Our goal is to be loyal, be honorable, and equitable with every interaction we make in order to bring these life-saving drugs or family-changing drugs to people all across the globe. So as you know, within the pharmaceutical industry, your pipeline is very important. We are committed to strengthening our research through different projects targeting different unmet needs in, well, now we have 4 therapeutic areas. So we have partnerships, we work with experts in universities, other biotech companies, and really looking to build our innovation by discovering or improving our drug discovery as well. We have, as you'll see in the next slides, we also have locations for research and development all across the globe as well. And we're also integrating AI in the work we do. At Ferring, we also believe in sustainability, right? Living in the world, we don't want the work we're doing to negatively impact the world around us. And we want to make sure that we're leaving the world a better place for the future generations. So we have 3 pillars within our sustainability strategy. The first is our purpose. We really deliver value as responsibly and ethically as possible in order to help people build families and a better life. The second is people. We're really looking to meet the needs of our patients and also really enable and empower our employees to find their passion and purpose and do that while supporting the communities around us. And the third is our planet, right? Our goal is to minimize our environmental impact and also contribute to a better future. We believe that a healthy tomorrow starts with today. As I was mentioning before, we have a global presence. As you can see, we have over 12 manufacturing sites, 9 R&D, 9 R&D presence in, sorry about that, presence for R&D in 9 countries, and we have subsidiaries in over 50 countries. So that's the benefit of working for a company like Ferring. You're really getting to interact with people with different backgrounds from different cultures, all working with the goal of bettering the lives of patients and really helping the patients get the life-saving drugs that they need. So what therapeutic areas are we really in? If you know anything about Ferring, you'll know that Ferring is really known for our work in reproductive medicine. This is one of my favorite fun facts to share. Every 3 minutes, a baby is born with the help of a Ferring product. So look at within the reproductive medicine space. We have Menopur, Recuval, endometrium as well. And then within our gastromicrobiome field, we're making huge leaps and bounds with the work we're doing as we pioneer the space as well. Think through Rebiota, which is approved for reoccurring C. diff. And then uro-oncology and urology. I'm going to highlight two major therapies within that space. Firmagon, which is approved for prostate cancer, and Adstiladrin, which is a gene therapy approved for invasive non-muscle bladder cancer, helping patients keep their bladders. And in the orthopedic space, we have Euflexa and endocrinology, Zomactin. And obviously, if you want to get a little bit deeper into these therapies, feel free to go visit our website where you can really do some research and see what we're doing. As I mentioned before, we are leaders in reproductive medicine. We really innovate with fertility and OBGYNs as well. We're committed to doing research to really meet the high level of unmet needs within male and female fertility as well. Once more, kind of taking a deeper dive into the reproductive medicine drugs, the biggest we're really known for is Menopur, which is a therapy to stimulate the ovaries in order to produce eggs during the IVF process. Within gastro, I do want to point out Rebiota, which is a fecal matter transplant therapy for those who suffer from reoccurring C. diff. And I also mentioned the Adstiladrin and Rebiota within the uro-oncology space. We also have urology therapies as well. And then when we also talk through our orthopedics and endocrinology, once more we mentioned Euflexa, which is approved to relieve knee pain, and Zomactin, which is a growth hormone used to treat multiple conditions within children experiencing growth failure. So once more within our R&D space, we really want to focus on helping patients across the board by being an innovative company, working with partners to really change the landscape of these three therapeutic areas. And that being said, I'm going to transfer over to my partner, Jason, who will talk to you about how to prepare for your interview.
Great. Thank you, Sam. So the next few slides, I'm going to cover, preparing for an interview and how to make sure that you come to the interview ready to win the interview and hopefully give you a better chance of landing the job. So before I get started, I just really want to engage one more time with the chat. Preparing for your interview is something that we can do at all levels. It doesn't matter if you're a recent graduate from school. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time job seeker or if you're looking to make a transition in your career. So feel free in the chat, let me know what stage are you at? Are you a recent graduate, a first-time job seeker? Are you looking to interview for that next position in your career? Just feel free to drop it in the chat and I'll start to cover these slides here. So again, what I'm going to share can be done at all levels. It doesn't matter if you're new to the job market or a seasoned professional, but you always want to make sure that you're prepared for your interview. So these are all tips. Again, there's no perfect science or perfect formula for this, but these are just some general tips that you can use to help you prepare. So number one is do your research on the company and understand the position you're interviewing for. It's really important to have a really good understanding of not only the company that you're applying for and potentially joining, but also the position that you're applying for, how your skills relate to the position, and how the position actually fits in with the company and the company's goals. You want to practice your answers. So have a practice interview beforehand where you run through your experience and any other pertinent information about yourself. I know it really sounds kind of strange to maybe practice on your own at home or in the car on your way to the interview, but if you just run through a few of the points that you want to highlight about your experience, education, it can really help you feel more prepared and confident when you're in the interview. And then the third thing I'll say is get ready for the big day. So be early to your scheduled interview time. Me personally, I always say 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. For me, that's kind of cutting it close, but I would say between 10 to 15 minutes. Dress appropriately. We're in a world now where we do interviews virtually over Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet. Even if you're going to be at home interviewing, you still want to look presentable, especially, if you're meeting with multiple people. You want to test out any of the equipment prior. So again, I'm meeting with you all virtually here. I probably join maybe 5 or 10 minutes before. I check my camera, my audio. You just want to be prepared and make sure that you don't have any obstacles during your interview. You also want to have any notes or any copies of your resume, especially if you're going there in person. You want to make sure you have something that has the experience that you're going to be speaking about. This will also show the hiring team and the managers that you were prepared. You may not need to share your notes or copies of your CV or resume, but if you have it, it shows that you prepared ahead of time, and managers always appreciate that. And then on the right side, you see the interview prep tips. Just be authentic, be yourself, show enthusiasm. You want to highlight the strengths, whether it's your education, experience, and anything like that. You also want to address any areas of improvement. I wouldn't necessarily describe that as I have a weakness, but I would say, an area I'm interested in learning more about is X, Y, and Z, or, I'd like an opportunity to continue to develop. It's just the way that you kind of word things. Reaffirm your interest in the position. So, when you get to the end of the interview, show gratitude, reaffirm your interest, say, hey, thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Hiring Manager. I appreciate your time today. Again, I'm interested in the position. So feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Just something to, highlight your interest and show gratitude there. So again, these are kind of just general tips, but moving forward is telling your story. So during the interview, you want to walk somebody through your experience and why you're qualified for the role. So you want to articulate your skills during the interview process. You want to articulate your experience. So the first thing I would say is keep your target audience in mind. So be mindful of who you're talking to and make sure what you're going to speak to them about is relevant to who they are in the company. So prioritize information that will be most relevant to the position and the company that you're interviewing for. Number two, you want to be genuine. You want to tell people who you are as a person, not just about your education or your experience, but you want to show your personality, some of the challenges that you faced in your lifetime. It really gives managers an insight into the kind of person that is going to be joining their company. There's only one you in the world, right? So there's only one person that is walking in your shoes, right? So you want to be genuine and you want to show your personality during the interview also. And then third, I would say finish your story by summarizing the resolution. So during the interview process, you basically walk through with the hiring team who you are as a person, why you have relevant experience, your education. So you want to summarize the resolution there, and that end result should be, why are you being hired for the role, right? So you tell this great story, and at the end of it, you want the manager to say, you know what, you're the right person for the job. So you want to highlight all the obstacles you face, any unique experiences that help you tell your story. And basically, again, by the end of the story, the managers and anybody else during the interview process should have it in their mind of, this is why we need to hire this person. So again, on the right side in blue, just telling your story, just some quick tips from what we just discussed. So make sure you provide the right context. You want to show emotion as you're highlighting any achievements. You want to show any perseverance during any obstacles or hardships. And then finally, you want to bridge the gap. You want to make the connection, right? So why does me going to university for 4 years and working for the next 3 years after that relate to the position at the company that they're hiring for? And you want to connect the dots and just build that bridge there. So on the next slide, we're going to talk about biographical interviews and compare that against competency-based interviews. So as you can see, we have definitions for both there. The first kind of section there, the biographical interview, is a semi-structured chronological exploration of the candidate's past experience. So again, kind of about telling your story. We're looking at you as a person. It's based on the premise that you, as a person with your past behaviors, we will be able to predict future behaviors from that. So its aim is to cover in a comprehensive and probing manner previous experience both within and outside formal work situations. So again, that first one is basically looking at you as a person and saying, by some of your behaviors that have happened in the past, we can predict potentially what the future behaviors will be. And that's kind of the way that the interview structure is structured in that sense. And then the competency-based interview is a structured series of questions aimed at eliciting behavioral information against specific job-related competencies or criteria. So this piece is really where we're looking at the specific job-related criteria versus looking at you overall as a person. So a competency in this context is a type of behavior or skill found to be relevant to the job. So again, we're going to focus on behaviors or skills that are specific to the position that you're interviewing for. And the job analysis is usually used to identify relevant behavior of good job performers. So by doing this analysis and by doing a competency-based interview specific to the actual position, we can do an analysis that we can use to identify relevant behavior of good job performers. So here are some strengths and limitations to the biographical interviews. The strengths is that it's the most common format of interviews. For the most part, all of you who have interviewed for a position have probably gone through a biographical interview and may not have even realized it. It is the most common format of interviews from the perspective of the candidate. So it could be what the candidate expects. It also provides a comprehensive picture of an individual in terms of their work and their personal life. So it's a really easy format to get a complete picture of who the candidate is from a personal standpoint and from a professional standpoint. And then some potential limitations are that candidates who are more articulate and have better social skills may do better in the interview process just because, again, they're able to articulate their experience and skills a little bit better. It's likely to take training and time to extract relevant evidence for specific criteria. So it could take a little bit longer to get specific examples or information. It can be used without regard to the job criteria. So we can interview somebody overall as a person versus specific to the actual job and the requirements. And then the difficulty of relating the interview information to job relevant criteria essentially means that interviewers' personal biases and stereotypes are more likely to affect decisions. So because we are interviewing more on a personal level, there's potential for bias and different stereotypes to be introduced. And then it could be used to be seen as less appropriate for internal interviews where career history is or should be known. So, if we're interviewing somebody at the same company for a promotion maybe, and we ignore kind of what they've done in the past and only focus on them as a person, we could be missing out on important information to consider there. So the competency-based interviews, there's a lot of text there. The slide is up, so most of you guys can read that. But some of the strengths are that questions are based on an objective analysis of the job. So again, it's specific to the job. It's easier to gather more specific information for us to evaluate the candidate on. And then some potential limitations. You have to cover a large amount of criteria or competencies, and you have to cover them very thoroughly, which can make the interview kind of longer. And then again, highly articulate candidates or those experienced with competency-based interviews may be able to make a credible case, and have a stronger case made for them. And then this method also assumes that a thorough job analysis has been undertaken. So it assumes that since we're interviewing based on the job competencies or criteria, that a better analysis has been undertaken. So again, there's positives and limitations, strengths and limitations to both formats of interviewing, but essentially they're both used to help us as talent acquisition partners to really identify and key in on specific experiences there. So just some tips for behavioral interviews, which again is kind of interviewing the person overall. So the behavioral interview aims to evaluate past experiences by examining how you manage specific situations and applied skills that are relevant to the role. So you can see that we have two examples, how would you and how did you. You always want to use, in answering these responses, what we call the STAR method, which is situation, task, action, and result. So you want to explain the situation you were in or the situation presented to you. You want to describe the task, the role in your situation. You want to explain the action, how you address the situation and what steps did you take. And you want to explain the result. So this is a really easy way to explain a situation, an obstacle, describe the result, the outcome of that situation, that type of actions you used. And then in order to get ready for the interview, you want to think about different examples you can use. Again, you want to be calm, be genuine. This interview is as much of yourself as a person as it is for the job. So there's definitely no wrong answers. And you want to organize your ideas before you speak. You want them to be linear. You want to be clear in your speech, clear in your messaging. So again, going back to my slides earlier, if you want to practice it in the car on your way there, if you want to practice it a few minutes before, it's always good to just kind of organize your thoughts there. And then I will pass it back to my colleague, Sam, who's going to close out here for us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. I was taking some profuse notes while you were talking. Thank you for sharing some great information when it comes to the different types of interviews and just how to prepare in general. So to close, I really want to kind of talk through confirming your interest and following up. I would say when you're interviewing, the process can be long depending on the role you are applying to. So how do you keep your interviewers, the hiring manager, the recruiter, and the interview team engage with your profile while they're interviewing other candidates for the roles? Make sure during your interview you ask questions, right? Before the person ends the interview, you want, when they ask you, do you have any questions or have all your questions been answered? I always think it's a little weird when people say, oh no, I don't have any questions, or they kind of just say, oh no, I'm good, and move on. This is your opportunity to kind of show that you've taken in the conversation that you've had by either following up with that person, asking questions like, what's a previous person, or if the role is a backfill, was the previous person, what did you like about the previous person in the role that I can potentially bring in? Or what were some gaps in the organization or in this role that, you're hoping to potentially fill by bringing someone in? And then listen to how that person answers the question, and then always tie back the answer to your skill set and your background. Also, share your motivation to join this company. Don't be afraid to say, Thank you so much for taking the time to interview with me. After talking to you, I'm even more motivated, even more excited to join your organization. And I know this because you mentioned this skill, and I actually have the skill, or you mentioned someone who is eager and willing to learn and show an example. You are constantly selling yourself. Thank the interviewer for their time to talk to you. Obviously, we all have very busy schedules. If you take the time to say thank you, it kind of also just shows your personality as well. And make sure you have a point of contact after the interview is done. So, for example, let's say you're working with a specific recruiter, right? When you're talking to that recruiter, you can ask them, hey, after I meet with these two, three, four, how many ever people you're meeting on your interview panel, is it best to follow up with you? Or would you like me to follow up directly with the interviewers? And while you're talking to the interviewers, you can always ask them, hey, can I please have your email address? I'd love to send you a thank you note afterwards, right? And then make sure you're honest about your availability and salary expectations. No one wants to go through a process of 2 to 3 interviews and then find out, oh, for example, an internship, we have a 10-week summer internship here in the US. If you're only available for 6 out of those 10 weeks, we shouldn't know about that until when we're giving you an offer. We should know that beforehand because that's obviously something that we'll take into consideration during this time, right? And make sure when the interview is over, you go back and send thank you notes. You say, thank you so much. And further share your enthusiasm to join the organization, and then connect with your point of contact. I love doing debrief conversations with my candidates, right? Make sure you're saying, hey, I had a great conversation with this person. I was a little bit concerned about what this person said or whatever. So at least that recruiter, when they go back to the interview team, they can say, they got feedback from you on our process as well. Remember, we are interviewing you as much as you are interviewing us. So an interview is a two-way street. Make sure you're making it conversational and make sure you are walking away with the skills you need. And I know we have a little bit more time, so I did want to add, for those who stayed until the end, some extra tips to even get you to the interview when it comes to your resume. And I'm actually going to focus these tips specifically on interns and early talent. So people who have recently graduated universities, or you're still graduating, or you're still enrolled in school and you're looking for that internship and you're looking to ensure that your resume is looking good, or you're looking to find someone at the organization to share your background with in order for them to refer you. So the first thing is to help you make your application stand out is to add your relevant coursework in your resume. For example, if you're going for a business internship or a marketing internship and you're a business student and you're taking a bunch of marketing classes, make sure to highlight that in a specific section. Read the job description. The job description will tell you a lot about what the company is looking for. And if you have those skills, definitely add that to your resume as well. I know the interview process can be very long and you're applying to 30, 40, 50 different companies. So make sure you're also keeping a list of the companies and the roles you're applying to with one or two things about that role or the organization. So when the recruiter reaches out to you, you just pull up your list and say, oh, you're Sam from Ferring. Oh, I know that Ferring is a reproductive medicine company. I'm actually very interested in this space. And that way the recruiter will be quite impressed knowing that you remember information on the organization. The third tip is really leaning on your LinkedIn network. I actually took a peek and I saw a few of you have already requested me on LinkedIn. So that's a great place to start. When you see people like myself or Jason from the organization, go into LinkedIn, add us. And if you see a role, let's say in Switzerland or London or Dubai, wherever that you're interested in, tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, Sam, Jason, I applied to this job. Would it be possible for you to share my resume with the recruiter? It's always better to have that, to have a warm introduction to an organization than just submitting your resume and hoping something happens. And then my last tip is going to be keep calm and be yourself. Jason mentioned this before, being authentic, bringing your authentic self to the role in the organization, right? You've done, no two applicants are the same. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different hobbies. We all have different skills. And just highlighting that and sharing how you're going to work well with the team. And don't walk into your interviews stressed out or worried that you're not going to get the role. Because sometimes when you're talking to a recruiter, especially someone like myself or Jason, who spent a lot of time talking to, I probably talked to over 10,000 people while I've been interviewing, which is crazy. But taking that time to really calm down and show who you are as a person, and showing that you can deliver under pressure is a huge thing as well. So we're going to take the time to do Q&A right now. So I want to see you in the chat, even if you want to ask about how to answer specific interview questions, how to approach someone on LinkedIn, or just what's the best way to kind of hone in your resume. Please feel free to jump in the chat, or I'm not sure if we can highlight people. So feel free, and we're going to take a look at the chat right now. Okay, business intelligence, finance. Okay. Tips on getting an interview at Ferring Pharmaceuticals. Jason, do you want to take that, or do you want me to take that? I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, no, I can share my piece. Ferring, again, we're a global company, so make sure that the position that you're applying for or potentially interviewing for is obviously located in your area. What I would say is, use me and Sam. We're part of the U.S. talent acquisition team, but again, make the connection with us and say, hey, I applied for this position. This is what I'm interested in interviewing for. So I would say leverage the connection here now that everybody, knows who we are. But what I would also say is, again, do some research on the company. Look at some of the industry leaders that may be working with Ferring or working at Ferring with us. Again, don't be afraid to make the connection. But what I will say is make sure that if you are interested in the position and being interviewed, make sure you do apply officially for it. So apply formally for the role. If you want to include a quick note with your application, feel free to do so. But my suggestion, long story short, would be try to make a connection with somebody, express your interest, say, hey, I recently applied for this position. Any help you can provide would be great. So I would say, try to make the connection first.
That is a great tip. Tips on calming down before the interview. That's actually a great question. I love this question because I actually watched a TED Talk. I think it was probably when I was graduating college. I'm not going to age myself, but I graduated college in 2015. I think TED Talk was like coming out back then, and it was very big. And there was this, I think she was a social psychologist, who kind of talked through preparing yourself for an interview, and like silly, or I shouldn't say silly, but little things to get your mind in the right place. So the first thing is being prepared, just looking up the organization, look up the person you are going to be interviewing with. It depends on what country you're in. Some countries will do a full panel of maybe 5 or 6 people, and then the one person is sitting there. So that's more of a panel interview. Take the time to look at those people, look at their LinkedIn pages beforehand, right? The second thing you want to do, and this is something I even do before I have presentations like this, I look in the mirror and I self-talk, which is really funny, but there's just something about hearing audibly that you're calm, you've got this is going to be, easy, or these people definitely want you to work here. You just have to show it. You're the missing link on that team. So continuing to be positive and self-talking is a great way. Jason, do you want to take this one on the share some cultural interviews we as applicants should be aware of? I'm in the US and interested in interviewing for EU. So is that basic? Are you basically asking how to cross functionally or cross culturally interview?
Yeah, it sounds like the question is
Okay.
maybe if somebody's US based interviewing, with somebody from abroad. So what I would say from that end is that, I think during an interview, it could be hard to, understand all the cultural differences, maybe. I would say the biggest thing for somebody based in the US interviewing abroad would be just making sure that you're mindful of the person's time difference, right? So, being able to accommodate different time zones there. And I would also say, in the US, we tend to be a lot less formal, I would say. My experience interviewing or speaking with any teams, whether they're based in Europe or anywhere else in the world, is that they tend to, like to discuss what the topic is versus, small talk or chit chat and kind of that casual conversation. So again, I would just be mindful of the person's time and mindful of what the meeting is there for. And that would be kind of my biggest piece of advice there.
Oh, what's the best way to start a career in the pharmaceutical industry? We all were exactly where you are now, right? Nobody graduates college and or most people don't have a lot of connections within the industry. I would say one, using your network, reaching out to people within the organizations. I would be very strategic and target companies that you are interested in. The first thing is if you're international and not US based, or if you live outside of the headquarters of that organization, I would do some work on looking in LinkedIn. You can even search, right? Let's say you're looking for a operational specialist because there's a manufacturing plant in your country. I would type in, operations specialist, uh, Germany, Ferring Pharmaceuticals in LinkedIn. And you can get a bunch of people who are working for the organization and just go out and reach out to them and say, hi, I'm a recent graduate or I'm graduating from this school. I'm very interested in knowing a little bit about what you do. And just reach out to as many people as possible. Take time, put 10, 15 minutes on their calendars to talk to them and then share, like, I'm interested in your organization. I saw this role get posted. And then coming to events like these, career fairs, virtual career fairs, and having an opportunity to connect and share your interests is also going to be important as well. Jason, living in France with love. Okay. Uh, do you want to jump in on the next question, Jason? Sorry.
Yeah. I would say your best start doesn't matter the location, but you can definitely visit any company's career page and you could probably filter by location. So, um, not just in the pharmaceutical industry, but in a lot of other industries, the experience can be one to one. So, whether you have experience in a different country, a different market, if the experience is relevant, it doesn't matter where you're located or where you've worked. But for the most part, a company's career page should have all the opportunities and you can filter by the location. And again, it shouldn't matter as long as the experience is relevant.
So,
Also, sorry. Uh-oh. I
hi.
also Sorry, I just wanted to close out real quick. I'll also say if I see a lot of international students here as well, make sure when you're applying, go to that job description to see if that application is open to international students. You'll usually see in the requirements open to students, US based or German based students. So that should also tell you how open an organization is to bringing you in or doing abroad for your internship. Sorry, go ahead, Luis.
Hi, so sorry for interrupting, but we really, really need to move on with our program. Thank you, Sam and Jason, for this really, really good presentation. And to the audience, remember that our next webinar is going to be hosting by Alpha Sites. It will be taking place in 12 minutes. They will be talking about the delivering expert insights into consulting processes. Thank you so